buck the trend for our fifth and final matchup. Let's get underway. It's Villa.
Ooh.
Astralis starting on defense. Dokkaebi, the very first ban. XSET on attack. And we'll watch keenly to see, is this going to be a Thatcher ban or will teams be a bit more creative?
I like to start here. Get a little spies tossed in the mix, but this spies, it continues actually. Thatcher will stay open, which is a very rare sight to see on Villa. It is Dokkaebi followed by Osa of all operators. Let's see if the defenders can match that same energy. Force in chat saying Osa question mark exclamation mark question mark.
Wamai also will follow. I have to suspect this last ban is going to come down to two operators, Mira or Valkyrie. I would be surprised if we saw Kaid get banned out.
Wouldn't make sense.
Thatcher's prevalency,
yeah,
doesn't matter if you bring a Kaid or not. There's Thatcher on the board. You've got a Maverick as well if you want to bring that too, so it's a Mira to go instead. That leaves Kaid and all wall denial and drone denial with Mute, Mozzie, etc. still available. Aruni still in play, and Valkyrie still in play as well.
So typically we talk about Villa being very defender-sided. Jacob spoke about that on the desk, saying I think it was like 60-something% in favor of defenders. And with the current operator bans, I would almost go as far to say as this almost favors the attackers. At the very least, evens back that score to a 50-50 dead even, because not only do you have Maverick and Thatcher open on the attack, Thatcher open with Wamai being banned just makes it so much more difficult to find any comfortable spots on the defending side of things. And we know that both XSET and Astralis like using grenades. They're both very aggressive teams. And with all these operators at their disposal, with Wamai being banned out on top, it is going to give them both a ton of potential to get aggressive and get crazy in this server. It is XSET starting on the attacking side, and Astralis on the defense. It's a trophy statue bomb site to start things off, and we are doing an aggressive extension with that triple wall being soft on the left hand side with an extension down below from Astralis to follow up as well. So now XSET, do you challenge the roam clear? Do you go direct? Do you rush the bomb site? You have to show us, but you can't do it with the Osa, you can't do it with the Dokkaebi.
One thing that was talked about on the desk, and Jacob referred to this map in particular, was that it's almost like 4 mini-maps on its own.
Yeah.
The bomb sites on Villa, all of them are capable of being played. Yeah, the living room and library one get played the least frequent.
Yes.
But the bomb site that we're on right now to start off with is a bit peculiar for site number 1. Trophy and Statuary was, for a long period of time, a 1A, 1B type situation with Aviator Games, eventually fell down to the second pick, and then even more fell down to the third pick, teams favoring Kitchen. So it was something that you and I discussed back in our third match of the day, where you have more opportunity to hold map control if you aren't upstairs. First kill, by the way, goes to XSET. Second follows up as well. The Razor Bloom goes off. Gomez and Spirits both just easily walking and flushing out those defenders.
And it's a good knife from Spirits there. Nice kill, opening up the round together with the other player from XSET, that is Gomez. Finding 1 kill each, putting his shots in the back foot here. They extended down below, trying to, get something going inside of dining kitchen area. They've been shut down immediately, and Shuttle single-handedly tries to make up for that fact, as he's the lone player down below, but Shuttle 2 falls from the gun of Gomez, leaving just J90 and Iconic.
This is a rough going. These are the things that we refer to as depth charges, and Spirits misses it. An opportunity passed as both Iconic and J90 are safe from those nades from below. More damage being done, but Finka is such a crucial operator on attack, and here's a reason why. An Adrenal Surge goes out. Nicely played by J90 to take down Gomez, and Yaga falls too. Still some teeth here for Astralis as they look to continue to narrow the XSET numbers down. And it's a very heavy roam from both of their players. Neither are in the bomb site. They're very close. Iconic losing out in a gunfight to Kino. That's J90 to get more than 1 kill, and it's a double from Kino to end round number 1 and give it in favor of XSET.
And that's the XSET spirit right there. They said in that introduction interview that they like to be aggressive, they like to go fast, and also they know that each and every single player is talented and can land their shots and win those 1 versus 1 gunfights. That's pretty much all that round was. It was individual 1 versus 1s from both teams trying to win them. It was XSET that came out on top. They won the majority of those. Didn't need to breach the walls, didn't need to plant, didn't really need a ton of map control. And Astralis, this might be one of the things where they will get challenged a lot. When Astralis plays at teams like Sonics that play a bit more orchestrated, that might be easier to read out, figure out, and play against. But when you play a team like XSET that just runs at you and takes those gunfights every single time, that might be difficult. Astralis so far in this season, in this stage 1, has had individually incredible performances. Whether there's Iconic popping off one game, a DP5 popping off another, or Force having like an 18-2 game earlier on in the season. Well, XSET, it's every single player usually showing up for those guys. It's rarely just 1 or 2 people.
The best rating that we've ever seen from a player in the history of the North American League went to Forrest,
Yes.
which I'm pretty sure there was a period of time where he played a match where he had one of the worst ratings in the NAL back on that E-United team. So, boy, what a difference that has been. Other than that, that would have been back during Pro League, by the way, so I guess there's a distinction
I guess.
that could be made there. I know that some people will say that it's a completely different league. Maybe that's the case, but either way, you're absolutely correct. In terms of this XSET team, they lost their first 2 matchups pretty lopsided to both Space Station and TSM. After that, they haven't lost again. So they're on a 5-game winning streak. As for Astralis, they lost Playday number 2 to OXG, and then they themselves are also on a 5-game winning streak. So these teams have not known the taste of defeat in quite a while. Iconic gets stepped on by Kino inside a Pottery, and there's a Razor Bloom done as well. That art studio down below, a beautiful place as any for the first bit of action, and it gives XSET the numbers advantage.
Once again, opening kills really does go in their favor so far, and it's the attacking side on Villa that is showing up more than anything else. And while I praised XSET earlier for all 5 players being oh so good, well, to be fair, not a single player on the Astralis is negative. It's +5/+5. Shuttle, give us the money. Give us the money.
Ooh.
Fire 2 kills now on the side of Astralis, getting back the lead now. And every player stepping up to the task.
A nice answer back from Astralis after they sacrificed Iconic early on. It puts XSET in a more troubling position. They've lost all of their soft destruction in both the Finca and the Buck. They've got 2 breaches on Yagas Thatcher, but that's about it. You'll likely want to put those upstairs, but there's no top floor control. Astralis still holding on to that. They've got a body on Astronomy stairs. They swing. They could have picked off Kino. Gomez lets a Razor Bloom go off, and that's a ton of damage done to him. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but sometimes those indicators can be quite finicky. Gomez's focus is on astrology or astronomy, as we talked about before, with that one player from Astralis still holding true.
Yeah, Shuttle does have a C4 so that he can use later in the round if he has to. This one player from Astralis hiding inside of the master bedroom closet. Support from Shuttle tries to find the way, but I don't think they know the whereabouts of this player, but I take that back. Yage gets a nice kill to J90, exposing the weaknesses of Astralis being isolated on this roam.
Astralis answering back after XSET did that damage to them. DP fire, 2 big kills in a row. It means that this death drop from Yaga with diffuser in hand, 30 seconds left. He'll have to fight his way out of this situation. Almost impossible to imagine him getting the diffuser down successfully. Those 7 seconds will feel like an eternity. So instead he hunts for the kills. Creeping his way through the middle of the bomb site, but excellent patience from Astralis. They don't want to contend this at all. Yaga's position given away, still using those avenues that have been created with all the soft destruction, and he loses his gunfight to Forrest. He had a 6th sense as to where that Astralis player was, but he can't do much as there was a nicely established crossfire.
Yep.
He was doomed, no matter what. Tie game between these 2 teams.
As I was going to point out, the crossfire from Astralis in that 1 versus 2, it's one of my favorite situations that occurs in Rainbow Six Siege, and I think it really easily can tell the story of, are you a great team or are you a good team? If you can play a 1 versus 2 correctly, or rather a 2 versus 1 correctly, like the side of Astralis, you are a great team. And this is arguably where someone like Callout, the new coach of Astralis, comes into play with those drills that the players spoke about in the interview before the match, because it might look really easy on paper to win a 2 versus 1, but there are so many times, even at a very high competitive level of Pro League, Invitationals, etc., you know, Grand Finals at Majors, where you do not win the 2 versus 1 that you're supposed to. So discipline comes in good for Astralis. They nailed that round. It was DP Fire who opened it up, got 3 kills in that round himself, and we spoke about individual performance. Well, that round right there, that was all DP Fire.
I like the Tachanka strats that we see brought out on Aviator with the lineups to stop a plant from going down behind the model in the middle of Aviator. It also allows you to rotate and fire off classical hallway depending on where the Tachanka is positioned. Obviously, you got 14 Molotovs. The Shamika launcher makes you vulnerable while you have it out, but it does a deceptive amount of damage and acts very effectively as area denial. I will say that while they function somewhat similarly, you can use Goyo in a manner like Tachanka, where you are less exposed. The Goyo shield, obviously, fire lasting for 20 seconds, which is a lot longer.
The Goyo shield, it is no longer a shield, Parker. And you know this, because we spoke about it yesterday.
I'll sit here in my shame.
But we have to work upon
I am
this.
ashamed.
I cannot say Basement and Cafe, you cannot say Goyo shields.
I'm wrong. I will sit here in my wrongness, and I will be wrong. Sorry, the Goyo canisters.
Okay, you are correct as well. That's
Thank
exactly what you do. You can use that instead of the Tachanka. You're less exposed. It works great. And the Shuriken launcher hits a teammate.
That's not ideal. DP Fire taking some damage as Kino got the very first pick, and there's a nade on the Forest as well. XSET's entry on this round is lethal as it was back in round number 1. 2 players from Astralis down for the count, and it's the Tachanka of Forest who we talked about. Always nice when we spend so much time hypothesizing about an operator only for them to have a comically early death.
DP Fire is looking for a kill, looking for something, but it's Shuttle who finds it instead. DS off the board. It's a Flores. You lose those with Terror Drones. Top main shield stays alive. The Mute Jammer on that study door, of course, stopping DS from doing much work with the gadget itself, but that means XSET still have other areas of the map in control. It's Gomez and Yog on the top red stairs, who has successfully roam cleared the rest of the map while DS was distracting DP5 and the rest of Astralis on the opposite side.
Yaga waiting for an invitation into Aviator, but doesn't have one just yet. Gomez and him side by side. Astralis want to get aggressive on this 90 hold. Gomez choked off as he can't get to his teammate of Kino. J9O is in a bit of a tough spot. If both players were to swing on him, then he'd be as good as dead. Another successful nade. Spirits is 2 for 2 on those, and Shuttle gets blown apart. Does he know that there's a mute to swing on him? No. DP Fire wins the engagement. Numbers still favor XSET. Just under a minute to go. We knew that the 90 control was the focus for XSET. Is that where they are still going to stay? Oh, DP Fire and Gomez decide to engage, but it's J9O to get the kill on that one. Very long range, and it continues. All these engagements happening over and over and over again, and J9O's holding court inside of Aviator, and he's flying high right now. Waiting patiently for Yaga to swing up. No toxic gas left. 20 seconds. That's the clutch factor. Yaga making an absolute racket over by 90. But there's reinforcements and a very heavy vault door that are preventing him from the lineup onto J9O. Creeping inside of games. Provoke a plant. He's by the bar. Can you get there in time? The smoke doesn't have a ton of time. Yaga is going to be able to pull this one off and then immediately pop up. He doesn't see where the smoke of J9O is. He makes some noise, but he looks the wrong way. Huge play by J9O. A masterful clutch. And Astralis will pick up their second round in a row with an easy disable of the diffuser.
Masterclass in positioning there from J9O, finding the isolated targets once again in a 2 versus 1. You take the initiation, you take the gunfight right here. You see it swinging 90 onto Kino, gets the kill, leaving Yog alone halfway across the bomb site. And I will say, the one area where Yog could have played a bit better is that there wasn't actually a rotate on the right-hand side into Aviator. It was a vault hole, so there's no reason to wide swing the bar and expose your body to the vault area just to swing the right-hand side rotation, because you will hear the person vault through the rotate. Small things, minor mistakes, Astralis capitalizing well, and J9O showing us beautifully how it can be done to counter a 2 versus 1 when the attackers are far away from another by choosing to take the gunfight into his own hands. That means we're gonna go back where it started, back to trophy, back where XSET got their only round victories so far. This time, of course, Astralis will try and rectify that previous situation and try and claw back this round. Similar to the triple wall, so far the left-hand one has been left soft and will likely be opened up with a head-level holes. That's going to make it harder for the attackers to be comfortable inside of Master Bedroom and the Master Bedroom closet. And Astralis are extending down below like they did the previous time. And that's where they fell before. XSET entered quickly. They got 2 kills downstairs in kitchen area, and that's kind of where the round ended for Astralis.
Speaking of those opening kills, Nick, XSET have all 3 of them so far, and as you pointed out, both rounds 1 and the round that just transpired, round 3, XSET very quickly struck. But Astralis are such a consistent team through that mid-round, and it was discussed. We look for these openings. We want to make a play based off of our opponent's mistakes. And XSET being a new team, they're going to commit some mistakes just by virtue of them not having the same level of experience playing off of each other that some of the more practiced teams do. This is also just a young roster as well. And we know that youthful exuberance can also lead to hubris, and hubris can lead to unnecessary deaths. All you ranked stars, I hope you're listening. That said, XSET obviously impressive, but if they can get another early pick and keep that ball rolling, you have to be wary of what happens at that 1 minute mark, because that seems to be from that point on where Astralis really shines.
It is. It's it really is a tale of like XSET being dominant in the first half and then Astralis being dominant in the second half. And right now, this is the first time so far where XSET does not get the opening kill and also haven't gotten a ton of map control in the process either. And it's Spirits of all people. One of the top gunners, LMG, Finka, 2 grenades, Gone 6, Adrenal Surge Revive off the board. This is going to make XSET's mid-round so much more difficult because if anybody takes damage, there is no way to get that health back.
Yeah, and we saw a couple times where that Finka for XSET helped give them a little bit extra staying power, especially for Gomez getting HP back on the board in previous engagements. It also means you're left with only 3 grenades at this point. Only 3 grenades instead of the 6 that could be available. Fink obviously losing out on those 2. I wonder how XSET is responding, by the way, to that loss. A nade from Yaga goes off and does damage to Forest, but XSET are showing a bit of trepidation when it comes to getting into the building.
It appears the strat right now has been Gomez single-handed on the master bedroom balcony, trying to hold down the master bedroom rotations, allowing the rest of exit to walk into a statue door. And yeah, Flashbang comes out. No follow-up. Toxic Babe gets tossed.
J9O had 2 bodies in front of him, and a nade will go off just next to him. It's a swing from Kino, another one lined up. That DMR doing so much damage. J9O with the J92, but Yaga and Gomez managed to walk on in. Yaga picks up his 2nd kill, and he's a man on an island. Forest ends a potential comeback from XSET. They fought today. Their odds of making it to Charlotte were so high, almost at 100%. There are factors at play that can prevent them from making it. At the moment, XSET is sitting at 15 points. They're tied with Dark Zero, but XSET has the better round differential, so they are ahead in the standings. Space Station is nipping at your heels at 14 points back in 5th. Well, here's the thing. DZ and SSG play each other next week. They're the 4th game, the second last game of the broadcast. So if you're XSET, you go up against OXG in the match before. Now, OXG are a formidable team to play against, but at the same time, OXG might say, you know what? Let's take it easy this week.
Yeah.
It's better for us to potentially not go all out, maybe hide some strategies that we have, maybe conceal some picks and things that we have lined up for Charlotte, and just have an easier game and not really sweat too much. That means that XSET would win. They make it to the major. That's great. But if XSET lose this match and also lose to OXG, they're done. They just don't make it, period.
Yep.
Providing that Space Station beats Dark Zero, either in regulation or in overtime. If they win in regulation, then XSET actually make it. Dark Zero needs to go to overtime. That's when we say there's other scenarios, but eventually you can be in a position where your trip to the major is out of your hands. First pick, by the way, comes from XSET. They pick off Shuttle. That's the Frost down. The Bear Mats are still very much going to be in play, but the operator itself, not quite there. J9O looking to even the numbers, cannot do it. In fact, it actually gets worse as DP Fire gunned down by Yaga. As you talked about, XSET are a team that are so consistent. Diaz has yet to find a kill, but other than that, the rest of this team doing an excellent job together.
Also seen all 4 bomb sets now because we are downstairs in library living, and there was a bit of a Lemao in chat there from DB Fire. I'm not sure if he's unhappy with how he died or just like comical timing or whatnot, but Jaeger and Frost being off the board is actually not that bad for Astralis, right? It's those passive gadgets you've put down already, but they keep falling, Parker. Gomez finds another.
I mean, Mute, obviously, is another operator with passive gadgets. Down goes Kino, very first kill. J9O has spent this entire round playing in Classical Hall, also inside of games. Now he's inside a vault. He's got a big playground that is all his. He'll come face-to-face with Gomez, firing through the wall. J9O has been downed. That leaves just Iconic as the only upright member of Astralis. It certainly seems like the mid-round not exactly treating Astralis that well. Well, how do you beat them? You kill them before you get to the mid-round. We're not even at 1 minute to go, and Astralis only has 1 player up. And I say that. And a grenade drops on the head of Iconic through the hatch. The timeout working for XSET as they win their 2nd round. They can still potentially tie this first half. We're going to go to the very final defense now for Astralis, the final attack for XSET.
That we can, and you said Astralis just has to beat XSET before the mid round, but the issue is XSET, that's where XSET is the strongest. That's before the mid round, so Astralis might just have to get aggressive here. We've seen them do it before. We've seen the likes of Iconic absolutely popping off. And I also will say Astralis, in the beginning of the round, they hold the ground until about a minute has gone through. So about a 2-minute area, they fall back, they give up that first initial area of the map control, and then XSET takes that control and they follow up. The issue is, perhaps for Astralis, it's time to hold the ground and fight back. That seems to be when they've had the most success, outside of that very late round, sub 1 minute, where the likes of DP Fire and Shuttle has been showing up. J9O, of course, had that round previously on AV, where he clutched up in a 1 versus 2 himself. But Astralis, they're going back to Trophy. They're going back to Dining with an extension up above that looks like Trophy, with that triple wall being a double reinforced. The third wall is soft. Aggressive angles and line to sight into Master Bedroom. Banshees on site, Jammers on site, but most of this that we'll see playing out is likely up above first.
I did like the library living room defense, but time and time again, teams do struggle with it. I don't even know if the bomb site was a huge factor in that previous round,
really.
Nick. I mean, most of the kills seem to come off site, and I mean, yeah, you're going to roam differently depending on where you play. But we could see teams defending that same part of the map on kitchen defenses, for example. And guess what? You're still going to get picked off in those same spots if you lose your ones. So I'm not exactly sure that we can, point our fingers at the bomb site and say, yeah, the problem is that it was living room library. No, that's not the case. The problem was that Astralis were very bad in their gunfights, and they got picked off. J9O has been quite good in his gunfights today. He had that clutch to win the round, but he almost suffers an early death. XSET have 3 players that seem to be hunting him down over towards that aviator side of the map.
There he goes. XSET actually slowing down a bit here, holding angles and making sure to drone each and every corner, because Astralis has such a big map presence with the roam. Their top floor, their first floor, etc. And Gomez, well, sure, you got piano control, but you see, he's worried about the flank from main stairs lobby. So while Gomez might be inside the building itself, they don't actually have full knowledge, no map control of the things around him. That means that he's an isolated target, but there is no one there. He is all alone. Shuttle is in living. You have a player inside of the basement itself. You got a Conic inside the bomb side of Dining itself too. So XSET, they got most of the map controls slowly being gathered up. They got the sledge and they got the box, so tons of vertical destruction. Even if Yacht gets C4 and gets taken out, there's someone else to replace him.
And destruction is something that I wanted to highlight. Last time that XSET attacked Kitchen, their first 2 deaths were both on those soft breachers. Finka isn't necessarily a soft breacher, but she's got the nades available to her, and you lost the buck early on. Well, guess what? In this case, you've got so much soft destruction available. A sledge, a buck, an ash. You've got the breaches on Kino. You actually don't need a hard breach outside of that ace for this site. You're going to want to open up the wall, maybe pantry wall, maybe kitchen wall, wherever you want to go. And there goes the first Selma from Kino. So we'll get a good idea of where this execute is going to be. There's still quite a bit of roam presence from Astralis. 35 seconds are left in the round. Gomez creeping up towards Memorial. Shuttle is off-site, well far removed from any possible altercation. Gomez is assessing if the bomb site is free. He has no intel. He's just walking in blind, and he knows that there's nobody there. Is that Iconic playing over inside a pantry? Because Gomez has site control. Gomez has complete site control. But where is the supporting cast of XSET? They are not close enough to be able to help. They run right in. They don't see Iconic in this position, but XSET win their fights. Both Iconic and DP Fire to fall. Shuttle now boxed out. J9O comes back. He's the only hope. He has to stop the diffuser before it goes down. Wow. But they kill him before he can even get into the bomb site. XSET had control, and they completely pummel Astralis on the retake.
Gomez is walking on inside, be like, where is everybody? And yeah, sure, J9O was in laundry, Iconic was in pantry, but nobody was on the bomb site itself. Shuttle was playing cat and mouse earlier in the round with Gomez as well, kind of chasing him from the piano hallway. But it was Gomez who read the situation better, walked into his side. Shuttle had no clue what was happening in that cat and mouse chase, lost track of his target, and then all of a sudden they're just on the bomb site and they're about to plant. 3-3 split. With the attacker bans that we saw with the Dokepi, the Osa, and Wamai on the defense, meaning Thatcher is open, we didn't see Thatcher being played, sure. We didn't. Well, not really. But we also didn't really see the likes of Kaid being used, so there's no real reason to play the Thatcher. In this very opening round from XSET, however, they've changed up the game. Triple wall is triple reinforced, whereas Astralis always left the far left one open to play aggressive. Then they play the Mute and they play the Kai to deny those walls. And unless Astralis finds out this information with the drones, they're gonna go in blind with no Thatcher unless they attack or repick it. It'll be J9 going from Jackal onto Ying, but that's the only adaptation that they make, and that is not going to necessarily directly help you with the issue of the triple wall being denied. Had to see what they do with the Ying though. She does have 4 Candelas now, as you can see on the left hand side of your screen. She got a buff in the most recent patch a few days ago from 3 Candelas to 4, but flash duration slightly reduced.
Which is a nerf to her Candelas. So
yes,
a lot of people have speculated online that the changes to the Candela have actually made her a weaker operator. And I don't know if you'd agree with that, because you are now not as, what's the word for it? There's less wiggle room. You have to be more precise with when you pounce on the Candelas because the flash duration is lower, which means that the defenders can fight back much quicker.
I mean, essentially, you nerfed her and you buffed her in 2 different ways, right? You gave her 1 more Candela, but every Candela is a little bit weaker. And you can also argue that if you have 6 projectiles, because 4 Candelas, 2 smoke grenades, you are really good against Jaeger, you're really good against Homai. You can clear both of them single-handedly if you want to. And honestly, with how pro-efficient pro players are with Ying, I would say it's a buff.
Oh, and here comes the rush. 1 minute into the round, and the starting sound is always those Candelas, but XSET are waiting for it, and they greet Astralis with open arms. J9 sees Diaz paralyzed and blind, but not from the Candelas, just from lack of vision. Spirits answers back onto J9. XSET emerging from that first bit, not unscathed, but in very good shape. They find another to add to their tally, leaving DP Fire as the last player from Astralis. In a 1v4, DP Fire is on the roof with 90 seconds left. Astralis have not called a timeout yet. XSET called it at the end of the 4th round, and they won every round since. Those 2 rounds, and it certainly seems like they're going to be able to do it again. Astralis might not need to burn a timeout if they just want DP Fire to wait. Picks up a kill on the Gomez, but it could be completely inconsequential. We'll open up a window, and certainly seems like he's trying to kill some time, but is not as absent-minded an affair as we tend to see from teams that know that we've lost the round. Let's talk to the coach. Let's talk to ourselves. We don't need to talk to the coach just yet.
Often in these situations, you'll see other players from the team of this, of DP Fire talk to each other, while DP just kind of walks around and does his thing, gets some exit kills, impactless kills essentially to add to the tally of the scoreboard. But pretty much everybody in the server knows that this round is going to be over in favor of XSET because of the 3 versus 1 with no info, no drones, and no teammates from DP Fire to help him out. So unless XSET literally throws their bodies at him, they should be in the back for XSET.
He knows where they are. A 1v3 is definitely winnable, but in this particular circumstance, with walls closed, no information, no secondary utility other than 3 breaches, it's all but impossible because it would require a calamitously bad performance from XSET, throwing their brains out of their skulls onto the ground and then squishing them, squishing all the little bits of brain for them to lose. But guess what? They don't do that. XSET plays it well. They engage on DP Fire. They take the round. And now they've won 3 in a row. XSET with the first lead, Nick, since all the way back in round number 1.
Yep. And that's the one thing that I was afraid when I saw XSET roster was lack of leadership, not questionable, but a lot of people had questions about Bodega's credibility, I guess, and what he could make work with the roster that he had because you don't have a lot of experienced players necessarily. But the exit that we saw in the first week and 2 of the NAL Stage 1 versus the exit that we've seen the last couple of weeks, night and day difference. This does not look like a completely new roster with young players, without a solid leader, without a solid IGL who has tons of experience, a Canadian or a super, if you will. But they look really solid. They look like they have synergy. They play well off one another. They refrag, they trade. And in the 1 versus 3s and the 1 versus 2s, they have so much more discipline now than just a few weeks ago. So the progress of this roster and what they've been able to do, and same thing really goes for Astralis, even though they made much less changes than the likes of XSET, it is very impressive to watch. And I think these 2 teams right here is a massive reason as to why the current stage of NAL has been so competitive and so tight on most fronts. Beast Coast as well, credit to them. Every team looks so good. I mean, even Mirage got a win today over Beast Coast, so it's like anything's really possible.
The Mirage result was especially stunning, and sorry to spoil it for those of you that have not watched all of the VODs back, but I will say the amount of new talent making their debut in the NAL this season is very high. It feels like almost a third of the league is either brand new or playing on a brand new team. And even just from the squads that have qualified for Charlotte, if XSET qualifies by beating Astralis, you've got 4 players on Astralis who've never gone to a major before. You've got Dream and Newers on OXG, and then on this squad, you'd have Gomez and Diaz, who would be going to a major for the first time. Every single NA team qualified, if XSET wins today, will have at least 2 brand new players making their debut. That really just goes to show you that there is tons of talent in North America, and that for probably the first time since we've followed Challenger League, there is a genuine benefit to these teams playing as much as they are and improving to the point where they can play at such a competitive level.
Certainly. Great impact grenade deny from Spirits there. The first summon just goes out, but it won't matter too much because while that happens, there is no support from Spirits. Therefore, Forrest just walks on in from Astro from Bathroom, gets a free kill. Goma turns it back, Jane on the board. Jackal, that is, so roam clear will be more difficult. Secondary shotgun as well gets removed, but you got Shuttle on the sledge, you got breaching charges on both DP Fire and Forest as well, so tons of verticality available from the side of Astralis. No massive losses. It's 4v4. Either team can still claw this back. 2 C4s next set. Keep an eye on those because if one of those C4s can find a kill, that could be a great way for XSET to get back into the round.
Looked like good drone work to figure out Spirits' position on that wall, by the way, and know that he was playing all on his own. And when you can isolate him and go for an early pick, why don't you? I think losing J9O is quite damning. He's been the best performer in terms of gun duels and has been thriving off of his own abilities, not necessarily being droned in. His own abilities got him killed. It leaves us with 40 seconds, XSET the lead, and the numbers in a 4v4. Tons of soft destruction happening above the bomb site. We remind you that it's a kitchen defense. Shuttle doesn't know where to go. There's a player holding at the bottom of Astronomy stairs that he will have to contend with at some point. Yaga also lurks in the basement, and that avenue to get back is a part of where Shuttle is watching. Nade goes down and hits Diaz. Kino comes into the place of his fallen comrade. Toxic Canister goes out, but everybody from Astralis is dying. The mid-round and late round for XSET so good. Diffuser planted, and immediately Forest and Iconic will get out of dodge. That leaves the 3 players from XSET to retake. They have to get on the diffuser. This is where things will get very tough for them because they don't know where they are. Gomez gets chased off from above. Forrest dueling with Yaga. Kino comes in for a burst of aggression, and it's Iconic with a big double play at the end of the round to give Astralis the what do you even want to call it? The edge?
The edge?
Because these 2 teams have just been so back and forth, and the rounds have been so back and forth that you can literally flip Doa's coin with 20 seconds left and have no idea which team is going to win.
It looks so one-sided for a brief moment, but then it really turns a page, and it's like, okay, now it's really one-sided the other way because of 4 versus 2, but now it's 2 versus 2, and then all of a sudden, you see Iconic rappel up to that master bedroom balcony, open up the window, drop back down, walk into launch, kill both the 2 last players from the side of XSET, and save the round for Astralis. Somehow, some way, Iconic always finds a path, and once again, he only had 2 kills in that previous round. He found 2 more, doubling those to 4. And this is why some kills are massively impactful and some kills are impactless. Those 2 kills Iconic just got saved around. Massive impact kills. The exit frags, we saw DP Fire getting out 1 versus 4. Not so impactful because that round didn't end up mattering with those kills that were in his favor. So 4-4 tied up once again. We are going to Aviator Games room. We are also extending in similar fashion of that Astralis did when they were on the defense. Triple wall being double reinforced, and the 3rd wall is soft. Once again allowing that aggression in towards Master Bedroom, making it more difficult to attack. Jackal being brought every single round so far for Astralis as J9O wants to keep up that roam clear experience, keep up the secondary shotgun, the smoke grenades, and just keep finding openings for his team and himself, as he has been doing so far. The one thing XSET kind of missed out on previously on the roam was that there wasn't enough roamers. There was a single player, he got flanked, he died. That was a crime. This time it's Yogg and Spirits playing together, and that's going to bode a lot better for them because Forest can just sneak on in. Hopefully, at least.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's happened before. Exploiting the blind spots, as we call them. Well, this match so far has lived up to the billing, Nick.
Has.
4-4. Looks like we're going to go the distance. It's a 7-4 across the board for every match today, which means that the team who wins the next round has to win the next two after
They have
that.
to win the game.
That's just the rules. We don't make the rules. We just follow them. In this case, the script has been written. So whoever wins the next round wins the game, obviously. That's just how it works.
Obviously. C4 got tossed out, didn't do any damage. It's a much slower round from Astralis. XSET as well, also not really engaging in any combats or any fights anywhere in the map. Holding main stairs, holding 90, holding on for the dear life as Kjork gets shut down to a sliver of health. Astralis now is taking 90 control with a single player Forest on that office balcony. So this again is going to be a split attack, attacking from most, if not all fronts, leaving XSET under fire.
Their focus is on that study portion of the map, but all the players from XSET who are defending it are not in the actual room itself. They're far enough back. Yaga can't really engage in a duel unless he just wins a one-shot because of how low he is. He's still firing away either way. First kill goes to XSET. They've been mighty strong in getting these very first picks. They are... It's quite lopsided in regards to how these two teams are stacking up early on. And even though you see Yaga on that low HP, as was mentioned, he can play a little bit farther back. Miss Nade almost claims the ace of DP Fire and could have claimed a Selma as well. There goes the Adrenal Surge, and the Finka walks right in. Down goes Spirits, and there's more as Iconic continues to fire away. How do you even combat that when it's just a bullet hose firing and spewing as much munition at you as possible? A 3v3. Yaga's still on low HP. Gomez still on low HP. There's a Banshee going off. They know that there's going to be a push from this Astralis team inside of Study. They burst into the bomb site. Gomez with a Nitro Cell gets tossed out. Is it shot in midair because it doesn't go off? Iconic picks up kill number 3, kill number 4, and he gets them all! Iconic with the ace, and Astralis takes round number 9.
All right, so earlier on that round, right before they executed, Iconic was reloading with 55 bullets left. I was like, Iconic, what are you doing? You're not going to need that many bullets. And to be honest, he didn't. But he made use of each and every single one he fired. He got all 5 kills in the round, entering from Study Balcony, cleaning top main and the main stairs itself, then covers the planter, probably shot the C4 midair as well, and single-handedly, it's at least in the kill department, wins Astralis around. And now Iconic all of a sudden finds himself at the TVD top of the mountain of kills, going 9-6 for the side of Astralis. And that's going to leave XSET in the gutter. That was a round that you arguably coulda, woulda, shoulda won, but you didn't. And that might just cost you. And now, of course, the script now says it's an Astralis W because 7-4 has to happen, Parker.
If there's any match that's going to flip the script, it has to be this one. I mean, we already had Mirage and Beast Coast flip the script earlier, Nick, but this one right here should absolutely change it. And XSET putting up quite a fight. In terms of opening picks, by my count, they have 6 of the 9 rounds with the first pick. Now, some of those were quick trades, but XSET on a number of rounds, they get the first pick, they get the second. Astralis still holds true. That previous round, yeah, they get the first pick, but then they just got absolutely smothered by Astralis' aggression. Came through Study, and then broke inside of Aviator. You can't rely on Iconic to get an ace every single round, of course not. And it was J90 to clutch earlier on. Forest had some pivotal rounds before that. So both of these teams showing off the depth of their rosters, and there's a good reason why both of them might be qualified for Charlotte by the end of the day, depending on how XSET plays the next couple rounds.
It's very true. And the individual performance from Astralis outshining the team performance of XSET so far. Not by much, it's 5-4, it's very close still. XSET still putting down some pieces of utility, moving that back and forth as they are figuring out exactly where Astralis are coming from. It will be a study over, so a roam clear from Astralis. And the one thing that is going to cost them is that they start on the master bedroom side. They have to sprint all the way to office balcony, then start droning. And that's why you see DP Fire only entering the first room a full minute into the round. So, unless Astralis, doesn't fast clear this, which they definitely are, XSET can kind of play around the time essence here. Gomez downstairs to the mute has put down a C4, he pops it, does a little bit of damage, but that's it. If even that. Still 2 C4s to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're not really hurting for them yet. There is denial here in those 2 C4s, but also the Goyo canisters from Yaga.
Good job.
Diaz hasn't used either of his Electric Claw just yet. I wonder if that's deliberate to either try and juggle onto that triple panel wall, or if maybe he thinks that there could be a play from another direction and then throw the Electric Claw out there. But one Electric Claw can cover all 3 of those walls, so just kind of
throw some doubt into my own theory.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world here for XSET, you'd have to use those electric claws because the rotation from Astralis will come out. There you see the electric claw get tossed out. But it's a little bit too late, and the Selma charge rather actually destroys the claw in the process of exploding up the wall. And that now puts XSET and Spirits in a rather difficult position. Sure, Yogg and Diaz, they have 1c4 each, but they're not really in a particularly great position to utilize those. Like, sure, Yogg is down below, but the information game is running low, and so is the time at 35 seconds, and Forrest walking in.
And here's Astralis just to breach into the bomb site. 2 kills to their name, 1 from XSET. Astralis continuing to hit their marks, leaving just Diaz with 1 HP. He's got 1 kill. He'll add a second to it. A third? Maybe 4. How many more can he get? 2 players from Astralis, but J90 has been downed. So Diaz to clutch just needs the kill shuttle, and he'll do just that. XSET and Diaz in particular with an inhuman effort. He doesn't know that he's downed. He gets the kill for it anyway. Just like that. They look over towards the Astralis bench, but goodness gracious, XSET, they equalize yet again. There will be no 7-4 scoreline as we will need all 12 rounds to settle this. That's a 5th round to tie Astralis for XSET.
And Diaz only had a single kill, by the way, until that Cloud Champion. Now he's sitting on 5 kills instead. Technically, he only got 3 of those 4 kills because Sophia was injured and it wasn't by him, I don't believe. But yeah, Diaz had a slow start to this game. But in that single moment, he wins the round for his team, finding the clutch, finding the 1v3 with a little bit of help on that injured Sophia. Beautiful stuff.
Really beautiful stuff. This is what we've seen from these teams, the clutch potential.
Yeah.
They're just fireworks. If you didn't watch Astralis this year, if you haven't watched XSET this year here in North America, you have missed out on some exhilarating games, especially XSET, really. XSET, after, like I said, after those 2 losses, they have been on fire since then and have looked oh so dominant. They started off by 7-0ing the Sonics, then they 7-1 Parabellum, they 7-3 Beast Coast, they 7-2 Mirage, and then they 7-5 DZ. Okay, now you're starting to get up against the top teams.
Yep.
Fair enough. And then XSET finish off against OXG next week. But they are also going up against a top team, and if XSET prevail here, they'll either do so in regulation, 7-5, or they're going to need overtime to do it. They are still being consistent, and they are, no matter who their opponent is, they are showing why that consistency has put them in 3rd place.
I could be wrong, but I believe an overtime loss or victory for XSET puts them into the major as well. I'm not sure. You can double check that. A production can, but
we'll crunch the numbers.
I'm pretty positive that's the case, actually.
Yeah.
So XSET are still fighting, and they will keep on fighting to the bitter end. Astralis, of course, are going to match that energy as we've seen so far. Neither team is not trying. Neither team is giving up. Both teams want this victory. You can even see for Astralis, you know, they can have a hand in XSET not qualifying for the major, just like Mirage kind of played a part in that of Beast Coast earlier today. So if you don't play for yourself, play to mess with others.
An overtime loss would put them at 16 points. If Space Station defeats Dark Zero in overtime next week, and XSET loses their match against OXG, in regulation, all 3 teams will be tied with 16 points. So then it'll come down to the round differential and then head-to-heads as well. XSET lost the head-to-head to Space Station, but beat Dark Zero. So that's something that the admins can work out, but it would be an interesting 3-way tie. Again, this, of course, what needs to happen is XSET needs to win here and then also beat OXG in order to get to the major. But we'll see. Will 1 point be enough for them to clinch? Well above my pay grade.
I believe it is, because they have plus 16 round score.
Either way, I mean, round differentials fluctuate. If they get 7-0'd.
That's okay, if they get 7-0, then maybe. But XSET's too good to get 7-0, you know, Parker? 5-5 against Astralis right now. Had a good game against...
Nice shot. That's an NS in the chat right there.
That's an NS in the chat, yeah.
That's an NS in the chat right there. First kill goes to XSET yet again. They are formidable at the start of the rounds. Astralis significantly better through the mid portion of the round. We are already towards the end of the round, by the way, because there's only 50 seconds left.
Yeah. Now the whole things have happened, as you see, the first kill happened at around a minute or so, give or take, and now XSET, they realize, well, maybe it's time to get back upstairs and get back to the bomb site and dining, because time is ticking down, and surely Astralis are gonna press that go button soon. Well, it's actually Spirit who pressed that go button, trying to get back downstairs, and he falls.
That's a care package dropped right into the laps of Astralis. But watch your feet, lads. You've got both a Capcan and a Legion on the board. With how little time is left in this round, Astralis could very easily run into these traps, and it would be their undoing. They need to burst into this kitchen bomb site. As they do so, they're greeted by the guns of XSET. Down goes Shuttle to Gomez. Iconic with one. J90 traded out. Iconic taken out in Memorial, leaves Forrest in a 1v3, and that's it. It becomes a 1v2, but he doesn't have a ton of time, and he needs to pick both targets. Could he find the Capcan? No, he does, but it's Yaga to prevail in the gun battle. Instantly, losing a key component of either your attack or defense is just unsustainable.
It is.
And it catches up to you.
It's arguably the one thing that where Astralis is showing a weakness in this entire matchup. That is the opening kill, and to be fair, their conversion rate of stopping XSET from winning the rounds where they are playing 4v5 is quite impressive. But imagine how good Astralis could be in this matchup if they weren't playing 4v5 almost every single round.
Right.
It's definitely worth talking about. Goyo being brought again on AV seems to be more preferable by most teams in comparison to Tachanka because of the streamer launcher having to, you know, weapon swap and you're vulnerable and stuff that you mentioned earlier.
We only saw one round of the Tachanka too.
Yeah. Then people kind of give up on it. You know what? We can't shoot back. It's not fun.
I think there was more damage done to the Astralis players as well. I think it was DP Fire that ended up getting a Molotov landing in his lap.
Yep. It happens. It happens.
And then Forrest died early. We didn't even get to see the full brunt of the Force when it comes to Tachanka.
See Forrest though with the attacker repick picking up that Twitch. That could be a direct correlation to the fact that they know Goyo's on the board. Twitch can explode those canisters. It can trigger the fire and get rid of those after those 20 seconds. Helps it ADS clear, etc. as well. And that's 5 damage to the body. And there we go. Fire's been cleared. 1, that fire clears 2. Good value.
Huge use of that Twitch drone and great value out of a single gadget. With the way that this defense is set up and XSET are stacked up, Astralis are likely going to want to just get some of the pressure that the defenders are putting on this study part of the map off. They're going to want to take out the player sitting on main stairs. But more than anything, I think the easiest path for Astralis is to go through Vault. Attack through the back of the bomb sites and then fight towards Model. But look at who gets the very first opening pick. It's XSET. They take down Iconic. That's a set of nades. The only set of nades on the side of Astralis gone, and the Finca gone, all because of one play from XSET.
It's also your it's your clutch king Iconic, the man who earlier on got the ace on the entry, on the opening for his team. That means that J90, Shuttle, Force, and DP5, they gotta step up to this challenge because it is match point for XSET. You just called the timeout, you lose the opening kill, but Force is on the bomb site.
I'm a little lost for words.
Diffuser.
I'm at a loss for words. There he goes. DP Fire's here on the cross. Spirits is dead neat. They don't know he's there. Now they have the intel. DP Fire has to fall off. J90, the next one to get beaten up. It's a down on Kino. XSET in trouble as they hunt the diffuser. Astralis mere seconds away from sending us to overtime. J90 finishes off Kino, so the 2 warm bodies for XSET will filter into the bomb site and be greeted by the aggression from Forrest, who found the opening, walked in, got the diffuser down. A one-man army, and with it, Astralis guarantee themselves at least a single point. They're taking XSET to overtime.
That is probably one of the only times in the world where I would like to see the guy who's solo in the bomb site also have the diffuser, because let's imagine Forrest did not have the diffuser there. That puts Astralis in a very different position, because once Forrest finds that kill, he can't do anything with it. He can stay in the bomb site and fight alone, or he can leave the bomb site and then try and get back in. But because Forrest happened to have the diffuser as well, a massively high-risk play from Astralis, he can plant immediately after getting the kill and allow DP Fire on that red window rappel to cover him and set up a crossfire and a decent post-plant position. And Astralis, they take the round because of it. Now we're in OT, 6-6 dining. XSET stays in defense, Astralis stays on the attacking side. Not much changes in that department. Capcan also on the menu, as we've seen a couple of rounds in a row now.
Yeah, this is a lineup that XSET liked here, as we talked about before. They're going to bring lots of slowing potential and gadgets that exist to be nuisances. All of those goo mines from Spirits, you've got the EDDs from Yaga, and then you've got the Banshees from Gomez. They're all going to slow down the advance. Now, last time XSET went to Kitchen, they prevailed. And they prevailed on what I believe was that late clutch with the diffuser planted. And they did a wonderful job. That's the one that forced Astralis to call the timeout. I could be misremembering the round, but I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's just, this is one of those matches where it's been so unpredictable and so all over the place. That said, Astralis cannot surrender another opening pick first. In that last half, XSET got 5 of the 6 opening duels. They had an advantage all the time. Still, 2 of those rounds were won by Astralis, again proving that Astralis are the mid-round kings.
The mid-round kings. That they are. Guys, see DB5 using those summer charges. Impact grenade goes out, denies it, but look at this. Shuttle walks on in and gets a kill, and a good trade from Spirits. But that's going to even back the numbers 4-4. Now, I would almost argue that because it's Sledge that is going down, who also had grenades. Well, Gomez trading his life is actually probably worth it.
I mean, Gomez has been such a strong performer on this team. He's been roaming well. He's got great aim and has been out-dueling most of Astralis when it comes to just unhindered 1v1s. So I think both teams definitely do lose something. But the fact that it is a kitchen take and you've lost your premier soft destructor, I absolutely think that's higher value for XSET to kill the Sledge of Shuttle.
This is also why playing Claymores is not the greatest thing when you have breaching charges, because when you see TP5 and Ace and Force and Thatcher both bringing that breaching charge secondary gadget, losing the Sledge is not as big of a deal as it otherwise would be, and then, oh wait, no, that window gets rewarded. He's been there the entire round. And he finds Kino. That's smoke off the board, a massive player for the team here on this bomb side. Yawk as a C4 has those Capcom traps. They might come and play later on in the round, but other than that, Diaz might just have to clutch it up again for his team.
That was a great play from him previously.
Oh.
Was it a 4K from Diaz? I think it was a quad for Diaz on that clutch when he was upstairs. Different bomb site, though. This is kitchen, obviously, and that's one thing that the Sledge really helps with. Diaz now, as you talked about, he's being flushed out of his position. Forrest with diffuser in hand. He was successful in the previous round, and guess what? He's successful this round as well. Objective play going in favor of Astralis. Yaga heading back to the bomb site. There's a lot of targets for him to look at. And he tosses through the hole a nitro cell, but it goes off and doesn't do any damage whatsoever to J90. The Jackal still sitting on those stairs. If you see Yaga go into the bomb site, he'll be greeted by Forrest, but it's Yaga to win the duel before Iconic has his teammates back. Spirits to drop down through Laundry and head over towards the diffuser. He's got Diaz not too far off, but there's not a ton of intel for XSET. They are losing the plot and losing it quickly as Spirits only has a few seconds left to get on that diffuser. Ooh. Beautiful shot on the J90. It's another, but guess what? The timer is your greater adversary, not a single player on XSET. The round goes to Astralis, and they're on match point.
Some nasty shots from Spirits, but there is no time. Time runs out, and Astralis, they win the round as well, and they just keep walking. Force in particular just keeps walking in the bomb site in the middle of the rounds. Finds a kill, finds a plant, whichever. And it really is the biggest strength for Astralis this round is Forrest finding those gaps in the defensive side of XSET. But now we see a side swap coming out for the first time in a while because the side that we saw in the second half was the same side we saw in OT. That meant that in the last 7 rounds, or 6 rounds, XSET has basically been on the defense, and for the first time in a while, they'll be on the attack instead. Opening kills keeps going, arguably in favor of XSET. Last round, sure, Astralis got the first kill.
I don't count that for Astralis.
It's like an immediate trade. Yeah. But technically speaking, Astralis did get the kill first.
Right.
But yeah, you are correct. It's like a fraction of a second. They trade back and forth. 2 kills come out. So we're currently figuring out exactly what this means for OT with the point breakdowns. We'll get you guys an update on that in just a second.
Tachanka is back on the menu.
Sure.
Our favorite Russian friend.
Our favorite Russian friend.
With the Shumika launcher, the 14 Molotovs.
I think I like Capcan more, personally. I like me some Glass gameplay.
You don't need to pick a favorite.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I wasn't asking
you said favorite Russian first, but that's fine. Let's talk about my non-favorite operators then.
Finka is a Russian operator as well, even though she is CB.
I actually forget that sometimes.
Yes, you do. That's okay. I'm here to remind you.
Thank you.
This match has gone almost the distance, so can XSET pull it together? A victory, whether in relegation or regulation or in overtime for XSET, gives them enough points to go to Charlotte. It does not look like they clinch a spot with 1 point, but again, that's just what we've heard in terms of preliminary results. This same Flores drone to flush out the gadgetry on the study door goes off. Again, you got to think that that's a Banshee that's designed to slow you when you walk in. And there goes another as well. Just picking apart the pieces of this Astralis defense.
Yeah, that they have so far, and they're slowly clearing out utilities. Still a shield on top main. Try and breach the wall towards Vault here. It'll go out successfully because there is no Kite Claw on the wall. It'll only be on the one opposed of that one. And honestly, that's going to mean that Iconic has to get into a different position. You saw that rotating to top red instead because side itself is way too vulnerable, way too exposed. XSET taking their time. They have grenades. They have 5 of them left. Can do a bunch of vertical damage. Forest playing on the top main stairs is going to be a problem for them. Gomez finds the entry once again on the master bedroom side, single-handedly taking down one, but there is a second waiting as well.
Relatively ineffective roam that we've seen from Shuttle throughout most of Astralis' defenses, and this round is no different. He's just cannon fodder for XSET at this point, as Gomez's stat padding, 15 kills to his name. 3 players on XSET have actually broke double digits. At one point, Diaz was, I think, 1 in 5, and now he's caught up to 8 and 8. That's what you like to see, and again, the consistency of XSET that we talk about is on display on the right side of your screen. One of the beauties of Tachanka is that area denial. It works effectively at cutting off avenues for the attackers to get into the bomb site, and we just saw it there on the stairs. Those Molotovs being dumped out. Still 8 remaining for Forest, so he can blanket a path back to the bomb site. DP Fire swings on the Spirits, taken out as XSET suddenly comes alive, finding 2 kills to their name, and Forest and J90 are all that's left against this team of 4 on XSET. They lost Spirits, but that's okay. They're looking to push us to that 15th and pivotal round. Could this be the penultimate round between these two teams? Yes, it is. Both guns from XSET hit at the same time. Remarkable stuff from XSET. They do not want to go quietly into this good night. A 15th and final round between these teams. If XSET wins, they punch their ticket to the Charlotte Major.
Kino wrote, what a game, lads. And honestly, yeah, what a game it is. I want to say that the MVP of that particular round that we just saw has to be Gomez. He didn't do much, but it was honest work. He was on the master bedroom side alone, and he found 1 kill to open up the round, the entry. Sure. After that, that's kind of where the big value comes in. Astralis, they keep 2 players on the master bedroom side to try and stop Gomez from getting any further, and Gomez finds all 3 kills in total, takes master bedroom control, and wins a 1v3 effectively, leaving only 2 members from Astralis on the bomb side against 4 other XSET members. So not only did Gomez get the entry, but it took 3 people's attention, allowing the bomb site to be weak and vulnerable for XSET to exploit. Well done, Gomez. And yeah, he is now finding himself on 17 kills in this matchup. Final round, could break 20.
Could he?
Even Diaz brought it back from 1 and 5, as you mentioned, had a 1v4 clutch.
That's where it all started.
It was where it all started.
That's where it all started. He didn't get the down, but he got the confirm just outside of Statue. And now it's another Aviator defense. An extension by XSET over towards Trophy and Statuary. Making an awful lot of noise, and with 10 seconds into the round, their gunfire is answered by Astralis' gunfire. Wonder what Yag is going to eventually post up as that Valkyrie is... Astronomy Stairs, the end goal for Valkyrie before you get called back to the bomb site. In terms of actual bomb site defense, it's only Diaz in the confines of either A or B. Astralis had great success on this bomb site before with Forest on Twitch, that Twitch drone taking out some of the Goyo canisters, and those fires will last for 20 seconds, but you can just wait. There's still plenty of time left. Over 2 minutes still into this round.
Twitch drones have got the ADS. Nate comes out. Gomez takes a bit of damage. No healing available on the defensive side of this XSET roster. No Thunderbird has really been played in this meta right now, so chip damage does have a lot of value. Yawk and Spirit still on the roam. Iconic finds the opening. That's Astralis getting a rare opening kill, but it's Iconic to do it again.
And it's Kino on the smoke, the first one to go down. Nitro Cell gets hucked out. Forest cutting off sightlines inside a study. Those smokes in hand, waiting to get swung on, and Gomez does. He gets rewarded for it by an early grave. Over half the round to go. XSET trail in numbers by 2. Astralis looking to break the hearts of the XSET fans who so desperately want to win and so desperately want to make it to the major.
If you're XSET right now, you need to find a single member of Astralis, someone who's isolated somewhere on the map, because if you wait too long and they get the setup that they want, they can just start going in towards the bomb site. But Yawk finds the opening. It's Shuttle once again. Arguably the weakest member for Astralis this matchup so far, keeps falling when his team needs him alive more than most. Yaki once more, but it's iconic.
The bomb site is
So sharp.
completely empty right now. So XSET will have to play for the retake, and it's Spirits to collect a second kill for XSET. 3 more to be found. These teams battling to the death. Iconic is inside. The Goyo, not too far off. Diaz will wait for the Finka to swing around the corner, but he's been held down, and there's suppressive fire that can come out from the LMG. There you go. Iconic goes in, takes damage in the process. Adrenal Surge to top him back up. Spirits can still be the Kingmaker in his position, but he has to choose his target priorities correctly. Diffuser gets planted by Astralis, and they will wait out the Adrenal Surge with very limited utility left. This is just going to be a bare-knuckle brawl between the two teams. Waiting to get back into the bomb site. You see it. It's the Zofia. XSET trailing, and it'll go from bad to worse. Yaga will need to clutch in a 1v3, and he won't get it done. Astralis say, you got to wait another week as they continue their just reign of terror. 7-1 so far on the season, as it's a big victory over XSET. Well-deserved and hard fought by a scoreline of 8